Yes, we're back again. Here we go. This is Football is Life. And I'm Craig, and I hope you're all okay. Today, we've got a quick fire, jam-packed video full of debate and topics. Firstly, we're going to be looking at rounding up the Champions League. If you watched my first episode, you'll know that I did a few predictions last week. Got a few close, which I'm quite happy with. So, we'll roll right into it. We're going to be looking at other things, such as a couple of things that annoy us about the beautiful game, and looking ahead at a couple of the weekend's fixtures to wrap up the video. So, we'll fire straight in and look at the Champions League. And what we can say is, it's been a great week on the whole for English teams. In my last video, I was saying I was a bit worried about English teams looking a little bit tired this time of year after Christmas, playing loads of games, running up into just a busy programme, and then now going into the Champions League this week. And what we've seen is actually, I think the Premier League has kind of reminded European football that, the English game is a force, and the financial clout and recruitment that the teams have in this country really just shows that we're really high on the ladder of European football. We have 5 English teams currently sitting in the top 8 as that kind of phase is drawing to a close. And I think that just shows the strength that, we've got. We said, didn't we? Tottenham, Thomas Frank, what a big game. And if they lost to Dortmund, would he maybe get the chop? But, God, aren't they loving their time in European football? They are loving it. And while they might not be the prettiest team to watch at the minute, obviously, and, I think Thomas is still trying to find a way of implementing his style for the long term. It was a great result, and a great result against Dortmund, who, they can be questioned. They might not travel well in England, but a good result. Obviously, Dortmund got the red card, which wouldn't have helped them, but, Thomas will be relieved, won't he? And a great result for Spurs, and I think Spurs have got to stick by him, and I think long term, Thomas he will get the best out of Spurs, no doubt. And brilliant. Everyone barring Man City had good results. I called the Marseille one wrong. Although looking at the stats and watching a little bit of the game, Marseille were on the front foot. They came out for Liverpool, and I think that's why they got beat. They probably got done a little bit on the transition, and allowed Liverpool space. But Marseille, stats-wise, they had good. I think they had the most corners, the most shots. They had more possession, which is lending itself in the Premier League a little bit. That you don't have to win a game at the moment with having the most of the ball. You can be effective off the ball and then counter like that to devastating effect, and get the goals. And so that was maybe one result that we didn't expect. A lot of people expect Liverpool to win, obviously, but I kind of called it in the first episode that I thought Marseille could give them problems, but that never really materialised. But Man City did not see that coming. I think I said in the first episode that they could probably rotate 11 players, and I'd still expect them to get something out there. And they just didn't, and that didn't turn out. Well below par. A cold Norwegian evening shouldn't be enough of an excuse to have an off day. And interestingly, obviously in the news, it's come out the last couple of days following that, or the last day, that the Man City players are offering to reimburse the match ticket to the fans that went, about the 400 or so Man City fans that went. Now, why have they done that? I don't know. It does open up a tin of worms, doesn't it? Potentially. What is that now? Is that a thing in football that if you get beat by I know they're going to get beat 3-1, but if you go away from home and you get beat by 3 or 4, you don't show up, or the performance isn't great, should players now earning this money be reimbursing fans? But let's be honest, it's a nice gesture. Did it have to be made public? I don't know. But £25 for the match ticket, I mean, it's a dip in the ocean to what those fans would have paid going over there with flights, hotel, maybe flight back. Food and drink. It's going to be, I mean, that it's just a little proportion of what they've paid. But still, a nice offer. And I think the players are obviously clearly embarrassed about the result. Probably didn't expect it. And it looks as though that was kind of a hangover, doesn't it, from the derby, where, a newly founded kind of new group of City players being constructed together. Maybe that derby game hit them harder than they thought, below the level again. So City have got work to do. They are the one English team that actually can go into the first knockout, the playoff knockout, to get into the last 8. So they've got a bit of work to do, and they better not hope that they draw somebody like a PSG are still in that section. So. I think it was Liverpool last year. They had a tough draw, and you can end up going out of the competition. So, not good for Pep. No, he wouldn't have seen that coming, or maybe he would have. Maybe he knows it deep down that there's still fragility there. But I mean, I think it was the price of a Man City left back was more than the entire Bodo squad. So, yeah, not good. It's kind of like an FA Cup game, wasn't it? It was like a Macclesfield Palace where the big team's gone to the underdog, even though it's the Champions League, and they're clearly, a good team in Norway. But, yeah, they got done. And Chelsea, we said Chelsea would probably steamroller it, but got the 1-0 win, but they never looked like they were going to lose. So Newcastle with a real polished performance. I think that's where the power of the Premier League really shows. I thought they looked tired on the weekend and they might struggle against PSG. But yeah, they looked fine, don't they, Newcastle, in Europe? And them and Tottenham, they're having good campaigns in Europe. So pleasing to see. As I record this now, we've obviously got the UEFA Cup games tonight, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. Might have a look at that as I'm speaking, try and update. But yeah, so Champions League roundup, I think we're in a better position. I thought a couple of the English teams might, face a bit of a harder task, but they've all come through. Even Arsenal, I mean, I really fancied Inter to get something, and even Arsenal rotated. Eze finally got some game time, didn't have his best game, but he played. He's still there. He's still an Arsenal player. And they just, the real deal. I'll keep saying it. Until they mess up, because I just really can't see it this year. Could they treble? Big call, but they could treble. Could they Premier League? Could they Champions League? League Cup? But yeah, they could quadruple. We could be talking about a quadruple side for years to come this year. But who really in Europe over 2 legs have got what it takes to beat them? I can't see it. I can't see anyone doing it. And I think the only way that I can see them even going out of the Champions League at the moment is to lose in a neutral one-off game final in the end to a Bayern or a Real Madrid or a Paris getting through, and or even a City in the final, or a Liverpool. But apart from that, but it is nice to see Chelsea doing well as well. It is nice to see them doing well. I think Liam Rossini's started really well. Nothing glorious yet or well beaten, but winning games of football. And I think he's the first manager to win his first Champions League game, or Chelsea managers to win their first Champions League since Thomas Tuchel. So he started well. He comes up with some bizarre things, doesn't he? He's a bright lad. We've had the coach with the sticker on. in the training, which has gone out. Sports psychology at its finest there, and football psychology there. But stay connected was the message on the forehead. But whether that's just pure banter to lift spirits with players, it could be something a bit more deep meaning. It probably is, but it could be as loose as just bit of fun, get a few smiley faces on the training ground, get them pumped up, get them connected. Pardon the pun, and go from there. So yeah, Chelsea good. So that's the Champions League roundup. I think on the whole better than we maybe would have expected, or better than I'd have expected. And a few standout results, especially Liverpool and Marseille. It's a tough place to go, and Inter getting well beat by Arsenal. So yeah, but yeah, Pep City, work to be done there, defo. I think that leads on nicely to where is football heading? And I've read some things and looked at things and the style of football. I don't want to touch on too much to this, tonight. We're looking towards ahead, for the weekend, and we kind of have to talk, I think, about how football's going a little bit and kind of look at that. Not in every episode, but tonight. And I think football is the way it's going. It's very much, as we said in England, coming out of that possession. But I think it's definitely going down a route where teams are happy not to have the ball. And I think they're happy just to say, you have it. And when we win it, we're going to try and produce that opportunity on goal within the 15 seconds after. And it's like a front three and the rotation of that kind of front three. I think that's the way that football's heading. I think it's a solid foundation at the back, big, strong. Everyone wants a big centre back that can head it, kick it, be a set piece threat. With a dogged midfield, nice and tight, and then we're looking for pace, we're looking for skill, we're looking for a big number 9. Everyone wants a number 9. Probably this January, everyone wants a number 9, but a rotational front three where the right can come off and play left can go right, interchange where the striker can come out and the winger nips in and finds the little half spaces to score, and that's the way it's going, I think, and that could be definitely the current tactical theme that could be the next kind of big cycle is dotting the I's and crossing the T's, good at your set pieces and things like that, and then can we really hit you with a front three? And I think that's why players like Mane at Wolves, who have looked a little bit more at, those kind of players that they're also almost like mavericks, like a player with that kind of talent of dribbling or running, which is why I think he'll go to the top, is becoming like a big player. But a physical number 9 really does help, I think, with your 2 number 10s or your wingers. So there you go, just my little take on where I think football's heading and where teams have been successful, or can be successful, I suppose, in the future. But everybody's looking for that great front three and that great striker. And then get your set piece coach lined up, get him out in the technical area. They're there already. But why do they have to come to the technical area so much when it's a blooming free kick or a corner? But anyway, I think that's the nuts and bolts of it, really. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about is just a couple of these little annoying things in football that I watch. I watched it last weekend. I thought, shall I talk about it in episode 1? I didn't. I kind of waited, and I thought, no, I'm going to talk about it today. Goalkeepers. Now, we all know you've got to be a little bit, you've got to have a character to play in goal and a personality, and you've got the likes of Picky and, Pickford at Everton, and you always watch him as entertaining. He's always giving it stacks, but he looks like he enjoys his football. Goalkeepers punching crosses. And I get it if it's a vicious, whipped in cross with pace, bodies around, and you've got to get. But what we're seeing in games, you watch it, go and watch a game this weekend watch a game on the telly, watch Super Sunday or whatever, and watch a routine cross, and there'll be nobody around the keeper. The ball will be literally fluffed in, edge of the boot, routine catch, and you'll see a goalie just punch it. And what's that all about? You just punch it. But what happens from that is, in the pressure from the punches, then the team picks up the ball, can't get out for a couple of minutes. And it's like, well, you could have stopped that whole process of the game just by catching a simple cross, taking the pressure off the defence, and then we'll get out and we'll get up the pitch. So it's been annoying me for ages, and now I suppose the beauty of me talking on YouTube and talking about football is that I can vent my feelings and just get it out to whoever's listening out there, all right? When we're on that, just make sure, please, like, comment, subscribe, get involved. I want to do question and answer episodes sooner rather than later. So please subscribe to the channel, and make sure you look out for my very next video, which will be after the weekend. We'll do a roundup from the weekend. So punching, cut out the punching, keepers. You're better than that. You're paid a lot of money. You train every day. You've got technology now of premium goalkeeping gloves, and you probably get a new pair every game. There's no excuse. There's no lack of grip. There's no snow sheeting down at the minute. There's a lot of rain, but handle the ball, all right, and stop punching it. And that leads me on to another thing that's annoyed me, because obviously from like a coaching standpoint it's grown this season and I've not been able to talk about it, but the one way, don't get caught on the touchline with a tactic board. There was one the other day, come on, I can't remember which game was it. It was a Celtic manager, Wilfred Nancy, before he got sacked, and straight away, Sky cameras picking it up. The tactic board. Now, what's the tactic board? If you're going to have a tactic board, all right, do that in the changing room. All right, you don't need to do all the players are adults. You tell them they're elite players. They should know exactly from the changing room and the training, in possession, out of possession, where they are. And if they're not doing that, you can direct them. I mean, how many times do you have to get a tactic board out to a player during a game? For me, it's too much. And if you're going to get the tactic board out, chaps, don't do one of those small ones where the pitch looks small and you've got about 100 magnets there. All right, just all spaced around there within like a centimetre of each other. And you've got your colours on there and your pen. Start blooming, honestly. And so if you're a coach out there and you're working in the Premier League or you're going to be on Sky, don't take your tactic board, because soon as you get caught, like Amarim, or soon as you get caught, I think Thomas Frank had on the other week, I was like, oh no, Thomas, no, don't. The Tottenham fans, they'll be after you. They'll be calling you out. Keep the tactic board at home, all right, chaps? Leave it for the dressing room. So yeah, moving on from there. Also during the week as well, Cov played, didn't they? And I just wanted to touch on, because we're looking at Premier League and Premier League greats, and I'd like to talk about a Premier League great. And we've got Super Frankie Lampard. Now nobody's really talking about Frank Lampard. Now, I believe Chelsea got rid of him too soon, but I believe the job was too soon, clearly. But he is doing, and I know it's not Premier League, we're dipping down, but Cov are Premier League next year, so let's preempt that. He is doing a brilliant job with the Cov, isn't he? What a job he's doing. He did it at Derby Championship, same thing. He clearly is. We say about great players that have been great players don't materialise into great managers. I think the prediction is, I think he's that good. I think he's a future England manager. And I think he's not going to be at Cov for too long. Sorry, Cov fans. He could be. I think if he goes up and then you come down, funnily enough, you've got more chance of keeping him. But he'd probably get sacked, which would be ludicrous, because he's shown now with Derby. He's shown potential at Chelsea when they didn't really have a great squad at that particular time. And now he's shown at Cov that he can get a set of lads playing, and Yeah, he looks really good, and they look streets ahead, don't they? Them and Borough up the Borough, they look like they're both lining up to come up. I mean, I know Ipswich, I think, are going to make a fight of it, but they'll be my three, I think, at the minute. I mean, safe to say Cov, Borough, and Ipswich coming up to Premier League, and all three of them might do okay next year, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, just a quick shout out for big Frank Lampard because I think he deserves it, and I know all Cov fans that are maybe tuning into this hopefully and watching us say, yeah, Frank does deserve a bit of credit, and we are coming to Premier League. And Cov fans, I'd like to know if you do come up and you come up with Frank, how do you think you'll get on next year? Do you think you'll have enough, or do you think it's got to be like a bit like Sunderland, a massive investment? 200, well, you ain't going to have that sort of money, are you? But 100 million spent in the summer to stay up. And Cov fans, you're a possession-based team rather than a physical team. Will that cut the mustard in the Premier League? So, big one there. So in the news, looking at transfers as well. Sorry there. Transfers. One that really caught my eye. Well, there's two bits of information actually that have come out. No, three. One confirmed is Ethan Wanieri to Marseille. Now this intrigues me because I at the start of last year when we first heard about Ethan Wanieri, I think really properly, and Miles Lewis-Skelly, I was kind of like, they are the future of England, like 100%. I think Lewis-Skelly still is. I mean, he was a midfielder in his academy days, so he'll end up playing there anyway one day. I think he's not been brought up as a fullback, so but it's a good way in the Premier League. They use like number 10s, number 8s. They put them at fullback, gives them a bit more time on the ball to shine. But that's why they can get caught out defensively. But yeah, Wanieri, I like that loan. I think any player now that if you Arsenal are that good, like this time last year, you would have said Wanieri would be in by now, he'd be playing games. Arsenal fans, I want to hear from you because I'm sure every Arsenal fan would have thought Wanieri's going to be in that front three or he's going to be playing minutes. And obviously you've bought and things like that. And you've got Saka, Madueke, Eze, Trossard's come good, as we've said. So Wanieri to Marseille, love it. I just think De Zerbi, get the best out of him. Possession football, he's going to get time. France is a good league, isn't it? There's a lot of players being linked from the French league coming to England. Wrexham are looking at a striker, 19 million today. But I believe Palace wanted him. And obviously, yeah, we've got Wanieri going the other way into France and into a good league. And I hope he shines because I really think he's obviously going to miss out on the World Cup now. I kind of predicted way back, way before the channel that I thought he might have a chance of getting to America at one point. I thought he was going to be the next kind of star. But still, top player, not playing enough minutes. It's definitely going to halt his development if he's not. So Marseille, I'm really going to be intrigued to see how that goes for him. The other rumour today is Alvarez. Julian Alvarez, who was at Man City, possibly Chelsea. And what people think about that. But I heard that and I thought he is a bit like an Aguero, right? He almost goes around his business and you're like, just pops up and scores and just lethal finisher, just that know-how of knowing where to be in space and timing and finishing. And I think if Chelsea could get him, that would be brilliant. I mean, your likes of your Delaps, then your João Pedro's would be a bit like James Trafford at Man City during the summer. Yes, I'm back, number one, back to City. I've been here. Donnarumma's just walked in the door. Kind of one of them. So Alvarez, I mean, if they got that over the line now or in the summer, brilliant. And then the third piece of news, and this is what we were saying in episode 1 as well, was Mateta wants out. Told the club he wants to go, doesn't he? Juve are knocking, he's going. Projects, sorry Palace fans, I know. It's a sore one. Probably a sore one today still. Don't watch this until tomorrow. Yeah, he wants out. Eze's gone, Gay's gone, manager's going. Next star player, gone. As soon as a player does that, I hope we don't have an Isak situation where Palace hold on because I just think it wouldn't do anyone any favours, and the mood's already going to be a bit thingy around Palace, a bit iffy, but supporters have a right, I think, to feel aggrieved. We said, the project was good, FA Cup winners, real opportunity, London club in the top 5 in European football, and this is just the way football kind of has a way of kicking you in the backside, doesn't it? And just, you get so high, have you reached your ceiling? And then the manager goes and, we're building again. And that's frustrating, but don't like that. I don't like another player leaving, but it'll be all about because other people have left. And he's a good player, Matt. I mean, I don't know, if I was an Aston Villa, Donny Marlon, why have they sold Marlon? I thought he was good. Not playing enough minutes, probably. And sticking by Watkins still. But if I was a Villa, I'd be all over that. I'd be all over Mateta. But, don't know why I just said Villa, but I just think Villa are looking for a striker. Most people are. But even Man United, I know they've got Sesko, but Man United, Mateta, they could do a lot worse. That wraps up the little transfer section and kind of rumour. But they were just interesting little snippets that I saw that I thought I needed to talk about them. And just a curveball, before we go on just to wrapping up for the weekend predictions, I've picked a few games to have a look at, if anybody wants to take any nuggets from them. Jack Grealish, just a question to all the viewers. Now, Jack Grealish, love him or hate him, he's played for a few clubs now, and if he plays for your club, I think he's a lot of people think fondly of him. But he's one of them players, you go back to your old club, he gets a bit of stick, and that's often because you're a good player. Now look, in the Premier League, I think he's drawn the most fouls against in the last couple of years, and he always does because he gets kicked. People want to kick him, they just want to kick his calves, but they want to kick him. And my question is can Jack Grealish pull it together to make this World Cup squad for England, or is it no? Let me know in the comments what you think. But there's a good player in there. There's a top player in there. There's a top player that Man City paid 100 million for, and he's not old. He's at a good age, and it's a good chance to make a World Cup in your career. So Jack Grealish, that's my little curveball tonight. Can he make the England squad? Yes or no? Let us know. All right, yes or no? I think he can. I think maybe he can. But are there too many players ahead now? That's the problem for Jack, I think. And he's got to be a good boy, and he's got to got his head down, Everton, and produce. But he could be one that Tuchel might think, do you know what, I'll throw him on. Could you imagine last 20 minutes in a World Cup game when you need a little, draw a foul, little beat one, and, little assist? Could be a solution. All right. So thanks so far for listening tonight. Man, like, comment and subscribe. Come on, get on it. Football is life. Come on. So we're looking ahead, just finishing up tonight on the Premier League predictions for the weekend. So we have games over both days, but we're not going to go through all the games because I think, there's people out there doing that, and there's channels out there doing that. And that's all they do sometimes as well, is let's do all the games, and I understand it. But I like to pick a few out each week, and we'll try and pick different teams out each week when there's games on and just have a look. I won't go mad. No real predictions on, too much information about, they're playing like this, they're playing like that. But the first one, so I've picked 4. I've picked Man City v Wolves. And I just thought that was interesting because Wolves have had, this is a harder game to predict than I think many would suggest. Now, I think Wolves can go to the Etihad, and I think they can give City a game. It's just whether City turn up, right attitude after what's happened this week, looking to get the fans a little bit on side and say, look, we need a performance here. Because obviously Wolves have done well. I'm interested to see, hopefully Mane starts and see what you can do against City at the Etihad. You can certainly get a couple of shots away, as we know. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I thought, do I predict maybe a shock there? But as the days worn on, I think I'm going to go with City, and I think they'll be able to put a right from a wrong during the week. So Wolves still spirited, give a decent show, and I don't think it'll be the hammering that it could be. And I'm going to go City 3, Wolves 1. Next game, Bournemouth v Liverpool. Now, this was an interesting one because Liverpool have kind of rediscovered that. They've kind of sneaked up with a bit of form, haven't they? 13 games unbeaten. And I thought, that can't be right. That can't be right. But it is. It's 13 games unbeaten. So they've quietly coming into a bit of form. Salah back. We don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing yet, whether that will rock the boat, or I think it was the right thing to put him straight in. That kind of, stops that possible media kind of frenzy of like, oh, he's back and he's not got straight in. Is there a problem? I think he's definitely gone in the summer, Salah, but yeah, so. But I think Bournemouth are not really. They had a good year last year, and I expected Iriola to kick them on a bit more, but I think they've lost a couple of players that, like Howson. I don't think, they recruit well, but they're not the force, are they, that they were last year? They're still a good side. They're still, they've lost Semenyo now, and so it could be a struggle. And Liverpool, unbeaten. I'm fancying them to go down to the Vitality there down at Bournemouth and get a convincing win, to be honest. And I think it could be their second 3-0 win of the week. So I'm going to go Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 3. And then Crystal Palace v Chelsea. Just sticking with Palace, because obviously Palace is not a great situation at the minute. And Chelsea, Rafinha, looking good. And yeah, it could be another difficult day for the Palace, for the Eagles. So yeah, I think let's keep this nice and short, sweet to wrap up tonight. Sorry, Palace fans, I really want to give you a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but I don't think it will be. Palace 0, Chelsea 2. And to wrap up, episode 2, thanks for tuning in. The last one, we've got Super Sunday, we've got a corker. We've got an absolute corker. Now, this could go anyway. Arsenal, the real deal, against Man United. Now, Man United, if they were playing Bournemouth at home on Sunday, I'd say, Man United 0, Bournemouth 1. Because the games you expect them to win, they don't. But they've had a great derby win. Carrick's in the building. I think they're feeling good. So, and they always turn up in the big games. Is this the first game where Arsenal feel a little bit edgy about being title favourites? It's tough, isn't it? Do you know, even now, I mean, Man United have, since Fergie, they've not been really anywhere, have they, for 12 years, 13 years. But you still know it's Man United. And you still think, and then whether that's just growing up watching them under the Fergie era, Champions League, ITV, Wednesday nights, that was Man United. I think everyone's still got that kind of, not a soft spot, that's not the wrong word, because a lot of people dislike Man United, obviously, but in terms of nostalgia and history, Arsenal 1, Man United 1, and I think United get a draw. That's a wrap for tonight. All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I love coming on camera and talking football. Just remember, football is life. Keep it tuned in, all right? Like, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you after the weekend with a weekend roundup.